Hi there. In this video, we will look at exporting a Kentico site. We'll be using Kentico's Xperience product, which is their digital experience platform. My name is Clyde D'Souza. I'm a software developer by profession, and over the past few years, I've been working with Kentico. The objective of this video is one, I think, to learn why would you export a site, and two is to just learn the process. The first one, why would you export a site? Now the process of exporting a site is quite similar to exporting objects itself. So you can export a site. For example, you would export a site from a dev environment to another environment, right? So if you're doing changes in one environment and you want all the changes to be transferred, so you want all your web parts, all your components, and even the content to be transferred from one environment to another, then you would use this process, and that's a and this screenshot is basically from the Kentico's official documentation page, which I will link in the description of this video. It exactly tells us the same thing. You're able to export the entire site from one environment to another, and the other reason you would is if you are building templates, for example. So if your team is building Kentico templates that other teams can use, and other teams can build sites from, then this is something that you would use as well. So let's say if you build a framework, and you include all the base stuff in it that the site would need, and then that can be exported as a zip file and imported into any other sites that other teams or other companies build. So as I said, this is a process that you would use to export a site. But if you want to export individual objects, that is, let's say if you have built a new web part or a new widget that you want to export from your environment or from a dev test environment to any other environment, then you could do this same thing as well. So the steps are pretty much the same, so that's really why you would use. It's a really good handy feature, and it's really good to know. This video we will look at exporting a site. There'll be another video that'll be coming out which will look at importing a site. Now let's learn the process. So I'm heading over to the Dancing Goat website. So this is the out of the box template, and I'll go to the administration portal, log in as an administrator, and now I want to export a site. So I want to export this Dancing Goat website, and the first step to do that is to head over to sites. So you can head over to sites by also searching sites from the list of applications, and then from this menu here, from this screen here, you would click on the export button. Once you click on the export button, you can name the package or the zip file, give it a suitable name, whatever suits you best. I will type in Dancing Goat, and I will select the Dancing Goat website because that's what I want to export. Now for this demonstration, I will just select all the objects that exist in the Dancing Goat site. But of course, if you want only a certain number of objects that have been modified only after a given point of time, only if you want to export those objects, then you can select this option. We'll click on next, and this will take us to the object selection screen. Now by default, everything would have been checked for you. And so you can leave this, if you're exporting the entire site with everything, you can leave it as is. But of course, if you want to exclude certain content, then you can uncheck a few boxes. So for example, if I want to exclude custom tables, hopefully there should be one here. So let's say if I want to exclude this custom table, I can uncheck this box, and in the zip file would not have the custom table, and then when I import this package later, I will not have access to the custom table. Now, one thing to note is that when you are unchecking components from here, be sure to cater to all the dependencies that your site may have. So, for example, if your page uses a particular widget, uses a particular web part, and if you uncheck that web part, which means that that web part would not get exported. That means that once you import the site, you might run into a few errors because the dependency has not been exported. Another thing to note is that when we are exporting objects, this is the process that we are following for the portal engine development method. And so in this case, the entire site, entire contents, everything will get exported. But if you are using an MVC development methodology, in that case the Kentico components will get exported, but the presentation layer, which is the MVC site, does not get exported. And now the reason for that is because MVC, when you're doing a development using the MVC development methodology, the MVC site is a completely separate site that talks to the same Kentico database, and your administration portal is another different site that talks to the Kentico database. So when you export your site, it only exports the Kentico objects, but not the presentation layer itself. So if you want to move the presentation layer into another environment, you just got to deploy that MVC site into another environment. It's just another .NET application, so you just deploy that. But most importantly, your zip file will have all the information, all the Kentico information in it. But of course, in Portal Engine, because everything is in one site, and we are usually just using ASPX templates and all the all page templates. Everything is sort of stored into the one project folder, and everything is really Kentico based. So within your development method, if you're adding ASPX templates from the administration portal, it is stored in the database, and you can export the entire site. So this is using this video is we are using the Portal engine, and so therefore the entire site will get exported. So I'll leave everything checked as is, and then I'll click on the next button, which means that all the objects will now be exported. Depending on how big the site is, it may or may not take a while. Now the entire while this is being exported, the entire steps to export and then also import is mentioned in the Kentico documentation. You just got to choose the right version and choose the right type, and then you can have access to all this information. So for further reading, this is the place to go, and I'll link it in the description of this video as well. Another thing to note, since this is still being exported, and this is something that I'll also cover in the importing a site video. When you're exporting a site, you need to make sure that when you're importing the site into another Kentico instance, your versions match. So I'll cover the version thing in a bit more detail in another video where I talk about the importing process. But that's just something to keep in mind. It's recommended that you export and then import from the same versions. So if you're exporting from 12, you're importing in 12, and then of course there's some compatibility in terms of the export, but that some considerations that you need to take care of. But of course I'll cover that in detail in another video. Alright, now that the export process is complete, we won't click the finish button yet because this will just close this dialog box. What we'll do is we'll scroll up, and you can see that you can actually download click the link and download the file, which will download the export file from here. But you can also see that it tells you where the zip file has been exported to. So if you have access to this server, if you head over to the CMS folder and head over to the CMS site utils folder and then the export folder, you can download the zip file or retrieve the zip file from here as well. Now that we have a zip file, let's click on finish, and that's pretty much the export process. So hopefully this has explained the export process quite a bit, and given you an idea of when you would export a site or its contents and but if you have any questions, please feel free to post it in the comments below, and I will try and answer as many questions as I can. As with any other YouTube video, please feel free to subscribe so that you are notified when I post a new video. And if you found this video insightful, please leave a like and share it with your network, share it with your friends and family. Thanks for watching this video. Take care. Bye bye.